be prepared that it will suck you in and it will definitely capture your heart forever. It will stay, whether you stay here or you go, it will stay in your heart forever. And I am actually I don't know when did this happen, but I've been living in Athens in Greece now for exactly 1 year. Today is 27th of November, and exactly on that day, on 27th of November last year, I landed in Greece after 12 hours flight from Singapore. I arrived in Piraeus, and I remember like it was yesterday. I dropped my bag at the company accommodation and I walked down the street towards the Pasalimani in Piraeus. It's a beautiful area, and I remember how much I loved it. For the first time in 6 months, I wasn't sweating buckets because I spent the previous 6 months in Southeast Asia. Yet it was kind of winter like it is right now. Yet it was sunny, it was fresh, and it was beautiful. And I was really, really excited. So after 1 year of living here, I wanted to make a little bit of an update video, 1 year update video on what is it really like to live in Athens, to live in Greece for expat. Of course, I do realize that 1 year is not that long. That if I was living here for 10 or 15 years, I could definitely tell you more than I can tell you today. But still, I think 1 year is plenty to get the feel of how is it to live in the country. This video, I wanted to make it a little bit different. I wanted to be very honest with you. I wanted to tell you how I feel it really is. I wanted it to be a little bit more of a chat between me and you and how I feel about the reality of living in Athens. So I have my tea. You grab a beverage of your choice and let's talk about living in Greece. Let's go. I wanted to talk to you about living in Greece from an expat perspective, someone that lives here for a while, but also someone that works here, earns wages here, pays the bills and all that jazz. I was also fortunate to meet amazing people that live here also for 10 or 15 years and people that were born here. So I think I can create a little bit of a bigger picture. I will start with hard part of living in Greece and in Athens, because if you know me, I like to leave the best for the last. I like to always finish on a high note. So I will start with something that I and many other people living in Greece struggle the most, which is the wages to cost of living ratio. It is hard to live in Greece and earn wages in Greece. I am not talking about people who have business, online business, digital nomads, or people who come and live here on the overseas income, or maybe retirees who come here from overseas pension. I'm talking about people who are part of the Greek labor. They go to work every day, pay rent, because I am one of those. So I'll tell you, it is hard. The wages to cost of living ratio is ridiculous, especially if you are a single person living and renting on your own. The rent for a studio, for example, I'm paying 450 euros for that studio. I did show the studio around in one of my first videos. I will link that video in the description below so you can actually see how the flat looks. It hasn't changed much since because I didn't invest in it, but I know now that I am paying too much, and I know that I can find something cheaper. But for majority of the studio kind of apartment like this one, you would pay on average 400 to 450 euros, which is a lot considering the minimum wage in Greece is 830 euros before tax per month, okay? And a lot of people actually earn this. It's actually quite common to earn minimum wage. If you are earning anything between 900 to 1,000 euros net, like what you get on your payday, you actually earn really well. So many people told me that, yeah, if you take 950 euros home, you're good for the Greek standards. So let's say you earn 950 euros or 900 euros, you pay your rent. If you're lucky, you pay 400 euros. Me, I pay 450. If you add all the utilities, the extortionate amount of money that you have to pay for electricity here, you don't really have much to work with. Maybe you have, if you're lucky, you have 400 euros to live off for the rest of the month. That is just enough to kind of survive and maybe sprinkle a little bit of pleasures, very affordable pleasures every now and then. Every time I go somewhere, every time I go and maybe have a drink or go to taverna, I feel like I'm really treating myself, and I know that I will have to pay for this later because I will not be able to afford something else. So you always have to sacrifice something to live from one month to another. For some Greeks, it's not as bad because people and families really help each other here. And also, if you are a couple, it's obviously going to be better, because if you're a couple and let's say you rent something for 500 euros, then you only pay 250 euros each. Then you, of course, have more money to work with. If, for example, you're a Greek person and you have a family here, families really support each other here. A lot of people live with their parents until their late 30s even. Some families, they would have a big family house, so the young person can live, let's say, at the top floor, and they have a little bit of a privacy, and they do that. A lot of people do that. A lot of Greek families also would have a summer house. It's a very common thing here, especially if you come to Athens. You will see Athens being completely empty in August, for example, because everybody just leave and go and spend summer in their summer house. So even if you cannot afford a vacation per se, you can go and spend summer in your summer house, so you still have some kind of getaway. So there are ways that you can make it easier. Of course, you can also share an apartment. You can share with a friend, or you just rent a room. But if you're a person like me that is in their 40s, or maybe in their 30s, or whatever, a little bit of a mature age, you don't really want to share anymore. You want to have your own place. You want to have your own privacy. And this is when it becomes hard, because you basically surviving. You're living from paycheck to paycheck, and forget about saving. Anything a little bit more than any additional expenses, it's a massive strain for that month. For example, I went to Malta to visit my friend in September, and I went home for a very brief visit in October. Those events really stressed me financially. September and October, and now actually November as well, because I'm going through some kind of a aftershock from those 2 months. They're really hard. So anything that's a little bit extra, it's just so financially stressing because you don't have any savings. And recently I was even thinking, what would happen if something would happen to me? You know, you get ill and you can't work. If I couldn't work, I'm screwed. Yes, there is a health system here and so on, but for example, in my situation, I haven't been in Greece for long enough to get any help from the government if I lose the job or anything like that. If I didn't have anywhere to go, I end up on the street. It is so stressful, especially when you have no one here to support you. So if you are coming here as a completely solo expat, you do have to keep that in mind. Yet people do help each other, and I will talk about it a little bit later. Of course, once you are here for a little bit longer, you learn that there are ways. There are ways to find cheaper apartments, because when I came here, I knew nothing. I was just given the names of few estate agencies, and I found this apartment. But now I know which website I should go to. I have a couple of friends that speak Greek, that if I needed to maybe negotiate, they could help me out. There are ways. I know that if I tried really, really hard, I could maybe even find an apartment for something like 350 or 370 euros. It wouldn't be a castle, but it would be cheaper. So of course you can make your life cheaper once you are here for a little bit, and you basically know, as I said, you know the ways. You know what to look for, you know what to avoid. You know that if you're looking for an apartment, you want to check what kind of electricity band it is. In some properties you will pay more for electricity, in some you will pay less. You want to take a look at the aircon unit, if it's new, if it's energy saving. You don't want to rent a penthouse like this one, because it doesn't retain any heat, and it gets really, really hot in the summer and very cold in the winter. It's really hard to heat it up in the winter, and if you heat it up, it will not retain any heat. But I'm digressing right now. But you will learn these kind of things as you live here. So of course, with time, you find the ways to cut the costs of living. But still, the savings that you will make, they are definitely not life-changing. When it comes to the grocery, I do not find it extremely expensive for European standards. I've had a chance to get it compared, because I was in Malta and I was in Poland not very long time ago. Prices are very similar. I would say that in average, prices are similar, because of course some things are cheaper here and more expensive somewhere else. But on average, I would still say that the groceries are very reasonable, especially if you know how to shop. If you go to Laiki, to farmers market, if you get your fruit and veg there, if you know which shops to go to and search for some deals, you can definitely do it when it comes to groceries. But the thing is that once you spend money on your rent, on your crazy expensive electricity, and then you have, of course, other bills. You probably want to have some internet. Yeah, I don't have a TV, so I don't really know. I don't pay any cable or anything like that. But you want to pay maybe some internet. Maybe you want to get a Netflix subscription. I don't know. Whatever it is, it all adds up. And then you add this costs of living, the groceries. Of course, you have to buy things like washing powder, whatever. You know what I mean? What are you going to end up with? You're hardly going to end up with any money left. So really, I'm not saying it's hard in the meaning that you go hungry, because I've never gone hungry here, but it's stressful because you realize that if anything happens, you're in trouble. If you have nobody to help you out, you can be in a big trouble. I should be taking care of my teeth. I should be taking care of my hormonal health. I don't have money to get these things sorted, so I'm postponing it, and hopefully I won't regret it. I really don't want you to take this video the wrong way, and I really hope I'm not gonna get too much hate for everything that I'm saying here, but I really want to be brutally honest about the reality of living here. I don't want to sugarcoat anything, because if you are thinking of coming here and working here, you need to be aware of this. If there is anything that I'm saying that is incorrect, please correct me. Please go into the comments below and correct me. Please do not give me too much hate. But this is my personal experience, and this is how I feel about it. And I hope you appreciate my honesty. So the way I see it, the life in Greece is hard and very beautiful at the same time. It's this combination of bitter and sweet. We live in the amazing country, beautiful, with beaches, with forests, with islands and mountains, with amazing lifestyle, gorgeous food. We struggle, but we somehow make it work. Kinda. But this we kinda make it work, or we have to make it work, creates what I really love about this country. Very often, from struggle, the beauty is born. I don't know how cliche it sounds, but there is something in this. The people here are incredible. Yes, we are going to talk about the good things right now. The people here are incredible. People really help each other. From the day one, I felt very welcomed here. I've heard different stories. There's people always complaining, and I've heard different stories about not very nice people. This never happened to me. Maybe I'm just lucky. I'm always lucky like this. But people are very kind. People help each other. Couple of friends of mine, once in a while, when they know I struggle, they would offer help. And they say, don't worry, don't be shy. We've all been there. We've all needed something at some time. People help each other. I have goosebumps just talking about it. And it's just, people are so kind and genuinely nice. I find people here really nice. And considering how stressful the life can be, this relaxed lifestyle, when you go to taverna and you grab a seat and you get a food or glass of wine or whatever it is, no one bothers you. You can sit there for 5 hours. No one will tell you that they need this table. And when we are talking about the tavernas, the food, you can hate me. Yes, you can hate me, all the people from other countries, but I genuinely think Greek food is the best. Every single food I've ever had here was perfectly seasoned. The meat is always perfectly grilled. The food is fresh. It's seasonal. I'm out of words. I love going to Laiki, the farmers market here in Athens. There's Laiki everywhere in Greece, because you get really seasonal food. And some things are better, some things are worse. Like, we have much better apples or potatoes in Poland, but there is a lot of food that you can see it's organic. You see ugly lemons, ugly grapefruits or mandarins or oranges, and they're delicious, because the truly organic fruit or veg is not supposed to be picture beautiful. I remember that day when I went to Laiki and I saw these cucumbers. They were really weird shapes. Like, I've never seen cucumbers this shape. They're most of the time straight, but these were twisted, really strange. And I was very intrigued. So I got those cucumbers. Those were the best cucumbers I've ever had in my life. I could just take a cucumber and eat it like this. So good. Also in the summer, when there is a season for the small little tomatoes, they are so delicious as well. You go to the farmer's market and you eat seasonal and fresh and naturally organic food. The food in the tavernas, the food in the restaurants, it's all yummy. So, and this is something that I wasn't talking about in my previous videos with about the pros and cons of living in Athens. I have no idea. How did I miss this? How did I ever not talk about the food? There's so many delicious dishes. Actually, I wanted to share something with you. Just a couple of days ago, I came across this YouTube channel. They filmed a video of how they were eating for a whole week somewhere in the countryside in Greece. There's no other action in this video. They just cook. They cook lunch and dinner. This video was hypnotizing. I will link it if you're really interested in very traditional way of eating in Greece. I want to cook every single thing that they made in this video. And so yes, I will link it below, but I just love food in Greece. It's just everything is delicious. I have never had anything here that basically I wouldn't like. Next thing I wanted to touch on when it comes to great things about living in Greece is how incredibly beautiful this country is and how many people actually don't know how versatile it is. Greece is so much more than just Athens, Santorini, and Mykonos. There are so many incredible places full of lakes, real trees. When I'm saying real trees, it's the trees with leaves, not just the pines like in the very hot areas, but lush with completely different architecture depending on different parts of the country as well. I dream about going to Pelion. My friend told me about this place a long time ago, and since then it just appears everywhere, and I see different pictures and videos about it. And this area looks like a dream to me. Of course, I would love to see all of the Peloponnese and so many parts of northern parts of Greece as well. I want to go and see Volos. I want to see Thessaloniki, Meteora. Of course, there are just so many beautiful places in this country. A lifetime wouldn't be enough to see it all. And with that being said, it hurts me. It really, really hurts me that I am not able just go and see those places and show those places to you. I would just love to go for a few days to different parts of Greece and film it and experience it and share it with you, but I can't. I can only find some budget travel options close to Athens because most of the time I cannot afford the accommodation. I know for some people 50 or 60 euros per night is not a lot. A lot of people would say it's cheap, but it is not cheap when your disposable income each month is 400 euros. And then you need to think about the fact that you don't only have to pay for the accommodation. You have to get there, you have to pay for the bus or the train or whatever. You have to eat something. Let's say 3 days trip, 3 or 4 days trip to Pelion for me, it would be half of my wages. I mean, half of what I have of my wages. So I cannot afford it. And it's really, really, really frustrating. But I'm not giving up. I promise I'm not giving up. I always find a way. So I'll find a way as well. And of course, you can help. I'm going to be a little bit cheeky here because if you subscribe to this video, you will be supporting my dream project of seeing so many beautiful places, and you will support this channel and you will help it grow. So please subscribe, but only if you really like the content, only if you enjoy it and you want to see more of this face. So what is my message to you? Whether you're watching it because you're thinking of moving to Greece, or maybe you're watching it just because you love Greece and you just love watching Greece content, there is something about this country that goes under your skin. That's how I feel it. Even though you are annoyed with many things, with the traffic, with the drivers trying to run you over every minute, with the bureaucracy and a lot of other nonsense, even though you're struggling financially, you just cannot help but love this country. The beauty, the diversity, the culture, the people, the food, the crazy diversity of town of city like Athens. One moment you're in Plaka, second later you're in Monastiraki, and then you're in a place like Exarchia, like completely different places. It feels like cultural fun park when you just move from one ride to another all the time, and then you get dizzy like from Uzo, but like after Uzo you can also get a headache. But it definitely goes under your skin, it captivates you and kind of makes you addicted. So if you come into Greece, if you come into Athens to live here, be prepared. Be prepared to love it and hate it at the same time, but also be prepared that it will suck you in and it will definitely capture your heart forever. It will stay, whether you stay here or you go, it will stay in your heart forever. And I am actually, and in the end, I did get a little bit emotional about it. Yeah, it was a little bit emotional for me, and there is a reason, because I actually have a little bit of a news for you, but we will talk about it in the next video. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.